Hello, hello, hello. We are live and getting ready for our second IG Live this month. Woohoo. I am really excited about this guest, but I'm excited about all my guests. But I think it's, with NaNoWriMo, I think that's how you say it, in November. I'm hoping that some of this content is helping some of the artists out there who may be interested in writing books and writing and getting published. I know that I am. I am in the process of writing right now, though it's not a fiction book, but it's still quite a undertaking, to say the least, especially if you're not used to doing it. So just wanted to share that, and hopefully people will find it interesting. And if I'd like to hear from people who might be in the process of getting their books done to write as well. And I've been hosting some silent co-creative activities. I have one coming up in next month, actually, and those have been really, really good ways to write as well, especially for those of us who might be writing in isolation. You can write with some people online, and we have actually a lot of creatives, people that do a lot of different things. So anyway, oh, there she is. There's the Real Doc Sprite. How you doing, love? And let's see. All right. Let's see if we can get her on. Oh, she's on. She's on. Hey!
Good. How are you doing?
This has been a weird week. So
already it's only Monday. We're only getting started. What do you mean?
I know.
Hey, everybody.
I did run. I did run away though this weekend, so I got a little bit of no superwoman complex done. So hey, I got to see Tina Turner, or at least somebody in her likeness, to do it. So
Oh,
how you doing?
nice.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I got to see Tina on Broadway. The musical. Very, very nice. I really, really enjoyed it. And so I'm just like it was the shot in the arm I needed. I mean, I just needed to just do it. And I hadn't been in New York, and oh God, I was trying to remember the last time I was in New York City. And I was like, hey, everyone that's coming in. Hi. Thanks for joining us. So anyway, it was good to be in New York City again.
I
was
love
like,
New York. Ooh,
me
I love
too.
it.
And I have not been, I'm trying to remember the last time I was there.
Pre-pandemic, probably.
It definitely was. There was one point I was going up all the time because I was getting a certificate in, what do you call it, art business from New York University. So I would go like once a week, and I got to learn it. And I mean, to do it by yourself, that was interesting. That was fun. And my girlfriend and I, we had a good time. It was just good to get on the train and to go. And I was really surprised how well New York is surviving. They're doing a good job.
They did. I got a chance to go this summer, and their protocols, like, they're tight. They're like, no, you got to have this, have this, got to have your shot. They were serious about staying safe. So I definitely enjoyed, the little bit of time I got to spend up there this summer.
Yeah, going to a restaurant, you definitely had to have it. Everything that, you know. Hello, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to go ahead and get started because I know your time is valuable, and I just want to thank you,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
my good friend, for joining me
You're welcome.
for NaNoWriMo. I guess that's not, I don't know that celebration, but also, you know, because I've been trying to find a way to really feature some of my friends in publishing. And I think November is such a great month to do that. All right. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sharon Burton. I am a certified creativity coach with Spark Your Creative and soon to be author.
Yes.
Now, if you looked in my stories, you saw that I was writing today. Okay, I have
Yes.
and I got an accountability partner too, and she does not play. She's like, it's like we've been meeting, and she's like, "Did you do this?" And I'm like, um, she's a writer too. So anyway, and I am just so proud to have Doc Swiner with me today. We're going to talk about self-publishing. So come on in, and if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. And we won't be long today. Let me introduce her. She was voted one of 10 best doctors in North Carolina. Doc Swiner, also known as C. Nicole Swiner, is a family physician, a six-time, count them six folks, time best-selling author, blogger, speaker, wife, and mother in Durham, North Carolina, where I want to move so bad.
Yay.
And it's on the vision. It's in the long-term vision. She is affectionately known as the Superwoman Complex expert and has written 2 best-selling books on the topic. She loves taking care of the family as a whole from the cradle to the grave. Her interests include minority health, which is one of my interests, women's health, one of my interests, self-care, definitely, and female entrepreneurship. So we're twins in that regard. But I'm not an MD. She attended Duke University and went to medical school at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, and she's lived in the Research Triangle area, specifically Durham, since finishing residency at UNC Chapel Hill, one of the schools I wanted to go to at one point, and continues
Oh,
teaching as an adjunct associate professor with the family medicine department. When she's not treating patients at Durham Family Medicine, she's spending time with her family, planning items for her Superwoman subscription box program, speaking nationally, freelancing for WebMD, and teaching others to self-publish, which we're going to be talking about today. And she has become one of the nation's experts on self-care, imposter syndrome, physician burnout, and well-being. And I will add COVID-19. She does a great job with that.
thank you.
And matter of fact, I've gotten maybe 75% of my information from you, catching some of your appearances on local television. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, I did want to go to UNC Chapel Hill. At one point, I wanted to do public health, get a master's in public health,
Ah.
but that was like on my radar. So anyway,
Mm.
the other thing that she is the CEO or co-CEO, I don't know, CEO
CEO.
of Swiner Publishing.
I'm the
Yes,
one.
yes, yes, she is. She and her husband, I think, which I think is a wonderful thing that you both do that. Swiner Publishing has been around since what, 20?
First published in 2012.
Right. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit longer than I thought you. Okay. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
all right. All right. My bad. My bad. Um, and I have signed with Swiner Publishing for my book, and my accountability partner just joined us, Sherelle Moore, and we were just talking about you, Sherelle, about how I have the accountability partner, and that you really kicked my butt to do my writing, and I mean, I
Good.
got up early this morning. So, you know, we're on it, doggone it. She's working on her book. I'm working on mine. So anyway, publishing. I've learned a lot from the good doctor here about publishing, and I'm really glad to be publishing my book with Swiner Publishing. But I thought it would be good to talk about it because there's, self-publishing has changed so much in the last few years. It used to be kind of hard to do it, and there's been some horror stories about, self-publishing and everything, and now it's much smoother. There's, you still have to look out for different things, but
Yeah.
let's start with this because I have clients and people that I work with that say, well, I write, but I don't know if I want to publish,
Yeah.
and one of my things is to really encourage people to share their work. And let me ask you this, why do you feel that people should consider publishing their work, particularly whether it's fiction or nonfiction?
Yeah. I'll tell you why I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's what I encourage, it's what I use to encourage other people just to go ahead and put it out there is it's a great way to make additional revenue. To make what I like to call money while you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us have been writing forever, right? We've been writing for schoolwork, we've been writing our dissertations, we've been writing in our journals, our diaries, on social media. There's plenty of people who have probably written, their status comments probably equate to a novel if you put them all together. A lot of us write and don't even realize it. And we have a wonderful story and a wonderful journey to share with others. Why not share it broadly? And why
Mm-hmm.
not get paid for it? What I did was, when I, I have been doing family medicine. That is and has been my main gig. But as I got more involved with, being part of organizations or speaking out in the community or being part of social media, groups and all of that, I looked around and saw my peers taking their experience or taking the same stuff that they would blurt out to patients every day, all day, and put it into book form. So not only did it make their jobs easier, because during a visit, we only have 15 minutes to spend with us or less to spend with the patient during a visit after you, get checked into the front desk and the nurse has to take the
Mm-hmm.
vitals and got to do all this before I get to you. By the time I get to you in a room, we have like 2 minutes left. But it makes it much easier for me to say, you know what? Here's a chapter I wrote real quick on controlling your own blood pressure. Take it home with you, look through it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that at home. And so it's a little bit easier, not only for you to tell the patient what they need or tell the client or tell the customer, whomever, what they need, but then they can take it home as a reference. That stuff is your experience, is your education, is what you've worked hard to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth something. So why not put it on Amazon, put it on Barnes and Nobles, etc. Download it, create your own ebook, and people, pay you what you're worth, for your value. And if you set it up right, while you're sleeping, people are downloading your book. And while you're sleeping, people are learning about what you're most passionate about, and they are thinking about, oh, you know what, this would be a wonderful person to invite to speak at our conference, or this is someone that I would want to pay a consultation fee to talk more to. So that's really why I got into it, to be honest with you.
And I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. And it's not so much the book, making all kinds of money with the book, though that is a revenue producing product that you have. But there's so many things that you can do. If you do go the nonfiction route, for example, there's courses you can create. There's all kinds of side products, everything from journals to oracle cards to, video series courses that you can do based on a book. So,
that's absolutely right.
It's more than just, writing this book.
It's the doors that you can open with the book. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And for speaking engagements too.
Yeah.
What are some self-publishing options that writers can explore? I know that, it's not just, for example, when I thought about self-publishing, I thought about, publishing through Amazon, for example. But now there's all kinds of different ways, really, that you can do this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I first got started, before I started helping people publish, and we still use Amazon as our primary source.
Hmm.
It used to be called Create Space. It's now called KDP, for
Yeah.
Kindle Direct Press. And it's still available to everybody. You can Google it or go to kdp.amazon.com and it'll walk you through the steps. And depending on how much energy, time, and frustration you want to put toward
Yeah.
doing it, because I watch my husband do the technical pieces, and it can be frustrating. But you can do it. You can do it. You can learn how to do it. You can watch YouTube videos on how to do it. But that's probably the most efficient process we've used to self-publish.
Hmm.
But in terms of, like I mentioned, if you wanted to create, taking your words from Microsoft Word, using something like Canva,
Hmm.
Canva.com is one of my most favorite free websites to create graphics, book covers, ebooks on. Taking your Microsoft Word document, copy and pasting it, putting it and, making your font look pretty on Canva, uploading it, and then emailing it to people. That easily, you can self-publish in that way. You can purchase your own ISBN, which is the barcode,
Yeah.
on myidentifiers.com, which also I believe is a way to do self-publishing yourself. I think they also have their own self-publishing content on myidentifiers.com. So literally, if you go to Google and put how to self-publish, there are probably nowadays, 20 or more different sites that you can use to publish and produce your own book, and then, sell it on Amazon or go to Barnes and Nobles, or once you've printed it, go to your local bookstores and say, hey, I'm a local author. Look what I've created. What's your process for putting my book on your shelf? It's much easier than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the hybrid publishers like yourself.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about how a hybrid publisher works.
Yeah, so there are the big publishing companies, and then there are the folks like me who essentially are your handholders and get the job done for you and then release you to the world to succeed. But so the big difference I like to point out always is, big publishing houses, whether they be through academia or a publishing agent calls you and says that they're interested in your content, they essentially own your content. So you sign a
Yeah.
contract, you probably get a signing bonus ahead of time, but when it comes to revenue or being able to make changes, you have very little to no control. When you
Okay.
use a self-publishing company or a self-publishing consultant like us, we essentially we can help you. If you need help from start to finish, kind of putting the pieces together, we can help you do that. Or if you've already, for instance, finished your manuscript and just need me to take it to the finish line, then we go and do all the steps for you, and then you, at the end of the day, continue to be the owner of your own content. So there are, folks that can help you at different steps and different levels in the process, or we can take it all the way to the end for you and you still have ownership of your own content.
Which I think is wonderful. And for people that are busy,
Right? And you
who
don't have to
has,
learn all that stuff. You don't have to learn all of it. We'll do it.
yeah, it's a challenge to learn it too.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so let's say I'm a first-time writer of a book. What are some key steps that I need to keep in mind, whether I'm working with a hybrid publisher or doing it myself? You talked about the ISBN number, for example.
Hmm. Hmm.
What are some steps that I would need to consider to get
Yeah.
published?
Well, the first thing, of course, is to write and finish your manuscript. I know you're in the process of doing that now. Having accountability partners is great. Pre-pandemic, the pandemic, of course, got real crazy, but pre-pandemic, I was doing a group where we were kind of helping each other, kind of step by step, doing Facebook Lives and talking and
Mhm.
supporting one another. Kind of got away a little bit from that with the craziness of COVID, but having
Yeah.
your accountability partners is very helpful. I see you, Sherelle Ward
Yes.
Tucker is here to support you with that. So
Mhm.
getting your manuscript done and scheduling time to do it, like being very, very intentional and saying, okay, so, February 2022, I want to have this book done. So every week I'm going to
That's my
sit
month, by the
down.
way.
Oh,
That's
good,
my
good, good, good. Yep. Got it on the calendar. But, every week or every day, depending on the time that you have available, you're setting time aside just to do the writing. And I say an hour a week. You know, you don't have to overwhelm yourself. If you
Yeah.
really dedicate and commit and create a quiet space for yourself, you can get a lot done. So creating that intentionality and scheduling it so that you can, make your date. Getting the manuscript done, of course, is number one. The ISBN for ebooks, you don't necessarily need an ISBN. Because you can still sell your content on Kindle or on Amazon without having an ISBN, but for printed books, you do need an ISBN. If you think
Okay.
about it, your ISBN is kind of like your I don't want to say bootleg, trademark or copyright. Because once you go on something like myidentifiers.com and purchase an ISBN, and that tells people how much your book will sell for, you have to put your demographics in, your title, your editor, you have to put all your information in. So essentially that's your stamp on your book, and nobody should be able to steal your content after you've done that. So creating or purchasing your ISBN is great. Amazon will create or can create an ISBN for you if needed. So if you're doing everything through Amazon, you don't have to buy a separate ISBN. Amazon can do that for you. The only caveat, we've run into this recently though, the only caveat to having your ISBN created through Amazon versus buying one yourself on a different site is if, for instance, you want to sell your book on Barnes & Noble's shelf, or you want to sell it in Books A Million or something like that. Because if your ISBN is created in Amazon and Amazon kind of has its name next to your book, it's essentially, quote, an Amazon book, and their competitors don't like that. So for my folks, so for my authors that I know want to take it nationally and want to go and be on all the bookshelves, will often create an ISBN outside of Amazon to put it on there. But you can still register to purchase one for yourself. The third tip I'll put out there is I always tell my folks, go ahead and start telling people now you're an author. You don't have to wait until you're done, right? Because you want to build your brand as you go and have it established well before you publish. Now, for you, Sharon, Spark Your Creative, you've done a phenomenal job with, even if your book isn't necessarily about what you have been talking about in terms of what you brand about and talking to artists and creativity and all that, you have a brand, right? You have a name already there. So I think your book will flow, no matter what it's about, it'll flow right into that. But there are plenty of people who have zero experience with social media, don't have an Instagram page, don't have a Facebook page, don't want to. Part of my job is to push them out there and say, nope, you got to do it, because you got to tell the people, get them excited now so that they're following along with what you're doing, following along with your journey. And then once the book is ready, they're ready to purchase it. So building the brand is another piece.
Yeah, and that's a really important piece. And you're right. I know that a few people in the group, were like, I don't know what Instagram is. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, it's just part of, the growth process as an entrepreneur or as a writer or someone, getting out there.
That's right.
Let's see. What would you say have been the rewards for you and the people you worked with to get published as authors? We talked a little bit about some of the benefits as far as, helping us with branding, opening other doors. Is there any other benefits that you feel that you've gained or some of the clients that you've worked with have gained from having a book published?
Yeah. I mean, again, because I come from the family medicine and mental health world, it's therapeutic for everybody, right? It's emotional. Yeah. Working with a person on their baby, essentially helping them go through the labor process, delivering and letting the baby out to the world is definitely emotionally and mentally rewarding. I love to see the smiles and the excitement on the faces of my authors and their level of accomplishment and achievement, saying, oh, I can't believe I did this. I accomplished this thing I've wanted to do. Watching them through that has been tremendously satisfying. And I had no idea I would like it as much. I thought, oh, okay, well, I've written a couple of books. I can teach people how to do it. No big deal. But literally holding people's hands through the process and watching them at the end, has been wonderful. So, you know, the reward at the end of that process has always been great. Of course, clearly, you know, financially, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. You know,
Yes.
I think as a coach, you know, there's a lot of information that I've shared, you know, and didn't realize that, you know, that could really be a part of a book until a couple of years ago. And I was like, okay, I think we could actually work with that. Plus, being a creative person myself, you know, I've been blocked.
Mhm.
I've had to use a lot of the tools that I'm going to be sharing in my book for other people. And it's interesting. It's taken me a while to get it together, you know, because, you know, COVID, all kinds of things have happened. And it's funny because writing it now, it's been flowing, you know, my story. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Now it's
okay,
coming.
we'll keep
Yeah.
on, you know, we'll keep doing this. But it also helps when you have somebody else around. But, you know, you've been excellent with pushing me out there and even announcing it. And I remember when we announced, I was
Yep. Yep.
like,
I was like, come on, you ready? I was like,
I was like, the
watch this,
audience was,
watch this. And everyone's like, yay!
the audience was wild, you know. But anyway, if anybody has any questions, feel free to just add a comment in the chat. But I am going to save this video and post it on my feed and on my YouTube page, so you're welcome to look at that. I am really happy to have Doc Swiner with me today and Swiner Publishing, and to share just a little bit about the process. If you're interested in her services, you know, hit her up on her. You can DM her on Instagram.
Yep.
If you're interested in having trouble writing your story or need, you know, a little bit of help as far as coaching, you can contact me. I work with authors as well as artists and other creatives. So we would definitely want to, you know, actually we could be a good little dynamic duo with that, you know, to, you
Why
know,
not?
if
Hey,
that's the case, you
that's right.
know. Hey,
That's right.
divine nine, make it work, make it work. Anyway,
Sherelle is asking a question about children's books.
okay, yes,
Yeah.
children's books is actually, and I know a lot of people are doing young adult too, but
Hmm.
children's book is like the biggest thing right now. You
Yeah.
have a couple people that have written children's books, right?
I would say children's books have probably been the most popular during the pandemic, interestingly.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can think of at least three children's book authors we've released in the 19 months. And I have somebody coming on Black Friday, another children's
Yeah.
book we're releasing. Yeah, I don't know. People, you know, I guess, so for instance, the book that we're going to release on Black Friday called Germ Catchers is from the perspective of a mommy psychiatrist who was trying to teach her children on how to wear their mask, you know, comfortably. You know, why was it important? Why do we have to wear masks? What does that
Mhm.
mean? What is COVID? So I think it's going to be a great historical book because people are going to look back at it and say, oh, this was written during that crazy pandemic. Or they're going to use it in a way to help encourage their children to feel, you know, some sort of, you know, comfort or
Yeah.
you know, this is a new normal, so this is what we have to do. You know, so I think a lot of children's stories and people that want to write children's books have either always had this idea and they said, well, well early on at least we were stuck at home. Let me go ahead and get this out to the world, or just, you know, it was something that they knew that they wanted to leave as a legacy for their children, or they wrote it
Hmm.
and dedicated it to their kids during this tumultuous time. So for some reason, children's books have been really, really popular recently. And Sherelle asked, do you know why they're booming? I think that's why. I think because a lot of people have either already had the idea that they wanted to do something like that, and the pandemic was the perfect time where we were kind of stuck at home to just get it done,
Hmm.
or this is their way of telling the story to their child or leaving this legacy for their child. I'm not sure. That's a really good question, but definitely children's books have been booming recently. And what we do, so, you know, I'm not an illustrator, so I can't draw or anything like that, can't create that. But what I do with my author clients is help to find illustrators for them if they don't already have an illustrator in mind. And there are either illustrators that you can look up in Google online and already have their business set up, or people who just kind of freelance, they're freelance artists. And actually, you may know more people than I do actually in the
Actually,
illustrating
I
world.
do. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do actually. But though I've been really impressed with the level of artistic merit that those illustrators that the books that you've been working with some of the
Yeah.
authors, because even the one that's coming out, I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, Grace Avery is the illustrator. She's a young lady. She's in her 20s and still in college. She's the one that has worked the most with our authors, and she's done a great job. Very talented. Does a lot of digital illustration versus just by hand. Um, but yeah, so fortunately, I have a number of artists, mostly here in Durham, that I connect with and do freelance for books. And so finding the illustrator is probably the longest part of that process. They do their work, and then once they're done with their work, then I take it, my husband takes it, formats it, makes it look the way it's going to look, and then we send it to the printer and print it or upload it as an ebook. So that's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing children's books.
Yeah, and I noticed children's books and young adult.
Yeah.
I've been noticing, at least up this way, it's a lot of folks that are into the young adult books.
Hmm.
And I want, I'm thinking of Candy Carver for mine.
Yes.
I, I
Yes.
I got introduced to her a few years ago before this whole book thing, and was
Yeah.
impressed with her art. When I went to I love your museum down there, that North Carolina Museum of Art that you
Hmm.
have, and they did a big opening of the African wing,
Hmm.
and she was there, and it was
Yeah.
just so cool. And I've been following her ever since.
Yes,
All
she's
right.
done the cover for both of my Superwoman survival story She's the
Yeah.
cover artist for that.
Yeah, and that's one of
Yeah,
the reasons why I was like, yeah, she did a good
yeah,
job with it.
she did.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
Bull
yes, it
City.
is in Bull City. Yes, yes, yes.
Horns
And
up.
for those of you that might be, Durham is actually one of my favorite cities. It's one of the places I'm in the DC area right now, but that's like kind of like it's been on my radar since I was an undergraduate in college in Southern Virginia, and I remember like retire down there to
Yeah,
Raleigh,
we love
Durham.
it. There's lots of love here. Lots of love.
It is a lot of talent, a lot of good things. Got a lot of always had a lot of good energy.
Hmm.
Before you go, share with people how they can reach you. I did talk about your Instagram page, but is there like websites, anything that people can reach you if they
Yeah.
want to find out more?
Yes, absolutely. So on Instagram, my main page, which was recently hacked, so I'm starting over, but my current IG page is crazy. At real Doc Swiner is my main page, and then I have a page on IG specifically for Swiner Publishing Company. So all together at Swiner Publishing Company on IG. And then both on Facebook. I have a Doc Swiner page and a Swiner Publishing page on Facebook. And if you DM me through either of them, I'll get them. If you want to email me directly, it's cnswiner@gmail.com. Instagram is always probably the quickest way to get me, though.
It
So,
is.
yeah.
I can always get her on Instagram. Um, and if you're interested in anything that I do as working and supporting you as a writer, feel free to feel free feel free to DM me. I'm only drinking tea, y'all. So
I was like, what's in that cup?
um, DM me, or you can email me at Sharon@sparkyourcreative.com. My website is sparkyourcreative.com. I'm on Facebook, Spark Your Creative Coach. And I will definitely connect with you. And I'll be launching some new coaching packages soon. So you'll be hearing from that, and some workshops and other wonderful things going into the new year, because it's all about, sparking your creativity, supporting you as a creative, as a writer. Thank you so much, my friend.
Dude, thank you. Thank you. Y'all, please be safe out there. Get your
Yeah.
boosters, get your flu shots, get your COVID shots. I'm sorry, Sharon, I got to do my family
I
medicine thing.
know she's a
Get your
physician, so I have to
booster.
let her do her thing. But yes,
Be safe.
and if you're interested in learning about COVID and everything, she's always doing updates on the local television stations in Durham. But she does post them on her Facebook page. I mean, on her YouTube page
Instagram and
and
YouTube, yeah.
Instagram, and so she's a great source of information. I've really learned a lot from her. Thank you all for listening, and if you're catching the replay, feel free to just leave a message if you have a question, and I will make sure that Doc Swiner gets those questions if need be. But stay in touch, and thank you, my friend. Have a great evening. All of y'all, have a great
Happy
evening.
holidays.
Happy holiday. Bye.
Bye.